I tell stories of the mysterious, twisted, and paranormal. And today is no different. I got a really good story for you guys. So, without any further ado, it's time to slip into a mind that's not our own. So for about a week in June 2012, there was a story about a teacher leading her students through a blood ritual that dominated the news. And people were worried about it, whether or not there was a cult in the St. Petersburg school where this woman taught, and if their children would be sucked into it. Now, Danielle Harkins will be our main protagonist without sympathy or antagonist, depending on how you feel she was mentally. And her husband George did not have a healthy marriage by any means, and she took George to court over a domestic dispute, but that was eventually dismissed. So after this, they got divorced, and some say that this may have been the catalyst of why she did what she did, along with issues of stress as well as the battle for custody she was dealing with her children. So with the stress of a recent divorce, Harkins allegedly started getting into religion. And her neighbor, Lisa Cope, claims that one day Harkins stopped by just to tell her that she was okay and that she didn't have any demons. Imagine your neighbor coming up to you and, hey, I'm okay. I don't have any demons. Later. I'd be a little, okay. And you see, Danielle Harkins was a literacy teacher working with a group of Florida teens. And on June 9th, 2012, she told 7 teens that they had demons inside of them, and that the only way to free themselves of these negative entities was to slice open their skin and then cauterize their wounds. So, as dusk set on June 9th, 2012, Harkins started a small fire near the St. Petersburg Pier. So now you have this 35-year-old literacy teacher at the Leoman and Asian Neighborhood Family Center, and she was preparing a cleansing ritual for herself and for some of her former students. So when the handful of students arrived, she told them that there were demons living in their bodies, and that the only way to exorcise them was for Harkins to cut her former students open and cauterize their wounds. And police spokesman Mike Pugh said that there was apparently some chanting and then some dancing around this fire that was taking place. And then Harkins instructed the teens to slice each other open while she used a lighter to burn their wounds. And then during the ritual, Harkins used a lighter in an attempt to brand one of her former students. But after the wind blew out the flame, she decided to pour perfume on him as an accelerant, and then her plan worked when she cauterized. Now, this fire was so intense that it caused second-degree burns on the student's hand. And another student received a slash on the throat from a jagged piece of a broken bottle. Now, after cutting the student, Harkins used a burning key to cauterize their wound as well. Now, a spokesperson for the police said that the students who participated in this ritual were loyal to their former teacher and keeping mum's the word about the event. Now, the bizarre piece of this puzzle is how on board the students appeared to be with their ex-teacher doing this. Now, even though she so obviously committed ritualistic abuse, they still didn't give any information to the police about her previous activity. Now, the only student that offered anything to the press was Stephen Cantalima, who was 17 years old, and he said, "I'm fine. All I know is that she's in custody." So without any of the students coming forward and admitting to anything else happening to them, the only thing people can do is speculate on the nature of Harkins' crime. Now, in the time she had with the students, she was able to isolate and groom them into caring for her, or at least into believing all of her weird blood ritual talk. So, after the ritual ended, no one ran home to tell their parents or to go and call the police. No, it appeared as if though all the students believed that what Mrs. Harkins was saying and doing was completely normal. So after the incident blew up in the press, many of the students that were present didn't even want to talk about the ritual or their formal teacher at all. You talk about Stockholm Syndrome. However, one of the students brought the ritual up to a friend after the night of the incident via text. Now, that friend immediately told their parents, who then called the police. Now, it's possible if that one student hadn't have told their friend, Harkins would have continued this pattern of abuse until maybe somebody died. Now, before Harkins was leading teenagers into blood rituals to cleanse their bodies of demonic entities, she was reportedly a normal person. I mean, she taught literacy at a community center in St. Petersburg, Florida, and was married with 2 kids. She was living the dream. But there was something awful just brewing up inside of her. So Carolyn Chance, who was the administrator at the Leoman and Asian Neighborhood Family Center, described Harkins as a very good teacher. Now, Chance said that she was very intelligent, she was very skilled, and just recently she started exploring religion. But I had no idea anything about these demons that were going on or anything like that, she said. So after the story about her teenage blood ritual got out, Harkins was then arrested on 1 count of child abuse and 1 count of aggravated battery. So she was put on leave from her teaching position and was held on a $55,000 bail. Now, at the time of her arrest, police were hoping the students who were involved in the ritual would give them more information. I mean, if they were letting her cut them up and then light them on fire, she was likely doing something else that they didn't know about. But unfortunately, none of the other teens were talking, so no one knows what else she might have been doing. And as of 2014, Harkins was released from prison on her own recognizance. So Harkins was initially charged with a felony that promised a lengthy sentence, but then the story stopped. Harkins went to prison, but it doesn't look like she did any real time. Then there were no follow-ups in the press, which means that none of the students talked about their experiences afterward. And believe it or not, some people are contributing this to the fact that they think Harkins during that time just quote-unquote had a bad week. Mind-blowing. Thank you guys so much for listening. I was sick the last couple of days, and I'm still kind of sick, but I'm getting over it and I'm feeling a lot better, which means I can get these stories out to you. So if you enjoyed Hell Week, I guarantee you're gonna enjoy Hell Week Aftershock. And we got more videos coming every day, every other day, every couple days. I'm gonna get them out to you as fast as I can. That's the only promise I'm gonna make, because it seems like every time I say, oh, it's coming out this day, it doesn't. So as fast as I can, they will be coming out to you. And if you haven't already and you've made it this far, please do me a huge favor and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. We got to get up in those subscriptions, people. Let's go. But if you're bored still, or you don't have anything to do right now, then you might want to watch one of these videos that pop up on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. And
stories about true crime, missing people, and the paranormal. As of now, it's time to slip into a mind that's not our own.